today. But after what a video I did a day or two ago, yesterday I didn't do any, so it must have been at least 2 or 3 days ago. Anyway, I thought I'd double check that I'm live on YouTube as well as Facebook at the same time this time, because I must have forgot to click go live on YouTube and have to rely on Facebook, because I record on both, as I said in the past, just in case something goes wrong with one. But anyway, I just wanted to sing this song. P.S.G are the champions of Europe, my friends. Anyway, sorry, hope it's not too cringe really. I can just imagine someone clipping that. Oh my god, do I have cringe? But anyway, I hope you don't get second-hand embarrassment. But anyway, I'm representing Italy, France, got a French top, someone got me, and Celtic, it's green. But yeah, I'm happy PSG won, to be honest, because one, my mate's an Arsenal fan. I got Arsenal nils. Arsenal nil, or Arsenal nil. My immaturity was my mental age. Anyway, and secondly, I just find a lot of Arsenal fans insufferable. But although an Arsenal fan did kindly invite me to the house, I said, "You're the only Arsenal fan, pretty much, that I don't find annoying." But I wanted to get a negative out of the way. Apparently, for some reason, I don't know if I should mention this, but there was a lot of. I read and heard that there's a lot of hooliganism with PSG, and maybe their fans do seem a bit spoiled as well. Their sports because of that money or whatever, for whatever reason. And apparently, they were burning cars in Paris. God knows why. If your team wins, that you would do that, unless it's Arsenal fans trying to sabotage them or whatever, but or rival fans or whatever. But I was thinking, I don't want to jinx this, but I touch wood. I'm just thinking how bad it would be if they got the Champions League taken off them for hooliganism. Hopefully not. If anything, hopefully their club will get fines if that's it. Maybe a warning. I think it would be unfair to punish all the decent fans and also the manager, Luis Enrique. Congratulations to you, Luis. I hope people like Luis Enrique, Pep Guardiola, and other great managers and coaches, as well as like scouts, directors of football, dietitians, and all sorts, and the best possible players come to manage and coach in Italy for the national team, as well as Serie A teams, club teams like AC Milan, Inter Milan, and especially Roma and whatnot. And I forgot to wear my Milan cap when I went to this person's house, who invited me to the house, and very kind of her to invite me. I felt a bit bad because she's an Arsenal fan, but she's one of the decent ones. So I did feel bad for fans like her, I guess supports like her, and the fact that no one invited me, my mum's partner, my mum's boyfriend, and I think her brother-in-law, and my mum's boyfriend was very respectful, and I was trying to be, but I still wear my heart on my sleeve, so I was still chanting for PSG and cheering when they scored. I wanted to talk about the game, but yesterday I was a bit late, so I decided not to make a video, and it was a bit late, and I thought I better not. I suppose because Facebook and YouTube were international, sometimes I wonder if I should wait till my family goes to sleep and then record videos so that I'm less likely to get disturbed, because I get frustrated when that happens. Well, my mum is a pain in the brain, or whatever. But nice life story. But yeah, I was thinking from the point of view of an Italian football fan, Italy and France don't get on well, but I think Italy and France should get on well. I tried to make a video a while back about what Italy and France have in common, and I hope to do that in the future, maybe in August, my birth month, to talk about what Italy and France have in common and why I think they should improve relations, especially in sport and particularly in football, and like practice together. But Italy and France don't get on well, but many people I think there's quite a few people in France of Italian descent, and probably the other way around as well. I could be wrong, but I don't know what percentage of people in France have Italian descent and vice versa. I suppose you could say it was like the English and the Irish, I guess, or whatever. But anyway, I won't get into all that because I could go off on tangents. But Italy and France, like, are both Mediterranean republics with a tricolour flag, as I call it, Mr. T, Mediterranean Republic, tricolour, and that kind of thing. Also, they have similar cultures, similar art and passion and cuisine and whatnot, cultures and traditions and things like that. I think a similar lifestyle. They're both, I'd say, well, they're Mediterranean nations, and also they have the tricolor and the republics. I'd say Mediterranean republics with the tricolor. Because Italy and Spain, you could say, also I guess do have a lot in common as well. Like, well, similar cultures and lifestyles, I guess. In some ways, probably even more similar, but especially the climate. But and they're probably closer. But then Spain is a monarchy, I think, and it doesn't have a tricolor, so it's a little bit. There's a few more similarities in a way. Um, but the other thing is with Serie A teams, if Spanish, it's a bit of a dilemma with Spanish teams because they are ahead of Italian teams. So as much as I love for Mediterranean teams to do well, and I'm happy for Spain, they are competition for Italy. And this year it could have been 3 English teams winning competitions. I'd love for that to be Italy. When the Italians got to 3 finals, none of them won. That was really frustrating. And since then, we haven't won much. So I'll say we, as a supporter of Italian football generally and Serie A, and I'm thinking this ball is blue as well, so representing Italy, and this one Celtic. But yeah, I forgot to wear this Milan cap. I wanted to wear. I was thinking either my Inter Milan cap or this one, but I know Inter Milan lost 5-0 to those guys in the final. To be fair, I don't like Arsenal, but I'm going to try and give them a bit of credit. I think they've won the league. Some people say they got dubious decisions, but I can't really say because I didn't really see them. I think Man City did mess it up. I was hoping that Man City would win the league. I mean, I suppose I was thinking what a season it would have been for Arsenal, if Tottenham got relegated and they won the double, the Champions League and the Premier League. Thankfully, that didn't happen. But I was thinking it could have been the other way as well. They could have messed up by coming second, which is still very impressive, but they would have been so close. Always the bridesmaid or whatever the thing is, never the bride or whatever. But they lost. If Man City would have won the league, I think it would have been even better. Coincidentally, those are both the teams that beat Inter Milan. But I was hoping they would beat Arsenal this time. I was hoping Inter Milan would beat them because I'm a big fan of Italian football more generally. I think because French teams haven't won much in Europe, it's good for them to win, I guess, from a neutral point of view or the underdog's point of view. Also, people say P.S.G played much better football, and like they say, football won. Most football supporters seem to say football won yesterday. Problem is, because I've waited for the day, I'll try and remember how much of the game as well. But I was thinking that, sorry if I'm not being very clear here, but yeah, people say soccer or football or whatever you want to call it. Most people say football was the winner, most football supporters. And yeah, happy Celtic won a double, and shame we didn't win a treble. But also, Arsenal didn't manage to win their double. I suppose one or two players who played, like we had Kieran Tierney playing for Arsenal, and an Italian player plays for Arsenal. So there are a couple of reasons why I might not dislike them quite as much, but I don't want to hate anyone or anything. But Arsenal are probably my second least favourite sports team after Rangers. Certainly down there anyway. Overall, although they do have an Italian player, and they did have Tierney and Kieran Tierney, and one or two other players have played for Celtic. They've also played for Arsenal, so there is that, I guess. But overall, I just find their sports a bit unsufferable, which people probably say about me, annoying and that kind of thing. Like even when they won the league, some of their dances, and all that, I thought. I suppose they just celebrate winning, but for some reason I find it really annoying when they dance and sing and that kind of thing. But again, people probably say the same about me. But yeah, for Italian football, I think any Italian fan who wanted Arsenal to win, I think, are not looking at like the bigger picture of Serie A. When I see TalkSport on that note, they say that Jason Cundy from TalkSport, for those who've seen TalkSport, shout out to TalkSport, not everyone's cup of tea, but he says he doesn't want to see other English teams do well. But for me, I always want to see Italian teams do well. And I look at the overall league table, and I love seeing Italy catch up. And I think Italy has a lot to learn from teams like P.S.G, and especially Spanish and English teams. Sorry, I'm just drinking a few more Arsenal tears. Arsenal nil tears. And I'm very mature, but yeah, I mean, as France is not much of a threat in terms of club team football. I know the national team is, but yeah, I'm happy. And I think from it, if people look at Serie A as an overall league and catching up with La Liga and the EPL, I think that was a big victory for Italy. Without Italian sports might not know that. I'd love to know what Italian sports and other soccer or football fans from around the world think in the comments, either on Facebook or YouTube. But yeah, this is probably going to be a very long video when I think about it. But trying to think of anything else, any different angles. But yeah, if they lost to Man City, that would have been even worse for Arsenal. As someone said, they should have done the parade for winning the EPL and done it separately because it's going to be a bit of a damper, I imagine. And some say their supporters who were celebrating coming second were still embarrassing. But I mean, as I say, it pains me to say, but Arsenal did do well. They did defend well, as some people call it. Talksport describes it as stinking out the place. But excuse the expression, that's not mine. But I can't really talk as a fan, as a supporter of Italian footy, because Italian footy is known for catenaccio, or whatever it's called, how you pronounce it in English, which means counter-attacking football, defensive football. But yeah, I think I'm going to go on to a sort of review of the match as best as I can remember it. So started off early with Arsenal attacking, and I was really surprised that PSG would have ended. I was expecting it to be the other way around, but it was Arsenal's kickoff. I'm just going to call them Arsenal, it's easier. Arsenal, whatever. But they got an early goal within like a minute. It reminds me actually of Italy in the Euros in 2021, which was delayed because of COVID. It should have been 2020, but because of COVID, it was 2021, where Italy another year to prepare, but where England scored early, like within 2 or 3 minutes. But this was even quicker. I think it was actually a minute or just over a minute. And even that one, I think some arsehole nil fans, supporters are complaining about decisions, but that one could have been given as a handball, although I think it would have been a bit harsh because it sort of hit his hand really quick, although his arm was up. So if it were going to be super harsh, that could probably be ruled out handball. But it was a very good goal, although I think the goalkeeper did duck. I mean, I'm not saying no goalkeeper would have saved that, but I do think it was very quick and it was a quick and powerful shot. But someone said the angle was too difficult, but I thought, it's going to be one of them nights. And PSG took a while to get into the game, which was fair enough. I thought sometimes they were almost too patient, but maybe they were just waiting for Arsenal to tire out and the heat and that kind of thing as well. But Luis Enrique, who I believe was the manager of Barcelona, or even Spain for a while, and he plays that tiki-taka football, as some call it. Obviously, both managers are Spanish, just like Pep as well, obviously. And he, so yeah, PSG took a while to come to the game. And I was like, the heck, are they waking up today or not? And then after a while, I think they got back into the game and started attacking, and people say Arsenal just sat back, like a bit like England did against Croatia, Italy, and Spain as well. I guess, but again, I can't really talk as an Italian supporter. I'd love to see Italian soccer, footy, or whatever you want to call it, become more attacking, whilst keeping that defence as well. So I'd love for Italian soccer, as I say, to be more attacking, as I say. But many people think, because I'm an Italian fan, that I want, as a supporter of Italian footy, that I want to see defensive football, but actually I'd love to see a lot of changes. I'd love to see the best possible managers, coaches, people like Luis Enrique, coming to Italy for a team like AC Milan or Roma or a team like that. Milan or Roma, I'd love to see a team like that winning the Champions League and World Club Cup and that kind of thing. Which to me, the World Club Cup should be the biggest trophy in football, in my opinion, because it's like the world champions. So just like the World Cup, I think there should be more prize money and more prestige for winning the World Club Cup. Again, drinking more Arsenal no tears, but sorry, any Arsenal supporters out there, especially the decent ones. I feel bad for you, but as I say, many supporters I just find a bit insufferable. And also, as I say, my mate is an Arsenal supporter, and he winds me up, so I love to take revenge. But as I say, credit to them, they did play quite well for a lot of the game. But apparently possession, though, was about 30% at the most. I think some say about 25, 26, 27, 28% possession or whatever for Arsenal nil. Obviously the rest, about 70 odd, 75% or whatever even, possession was for PSG. So I think it's hard to argue against the better team won in terms of the team that can play football. I can't remember when, but PSG got a penalty, which I think most supporters are saying was a penalty. And later on, Arsenal nil, felt that they should have a penalty. First of all, I thought, what did the defender do? And I can't believe what he's done there. Rather, a bit like Chiellini in the Euros as well. Another memory back to the Euros in 2021. Got to remember that as an Italian sport. It's gone downhill, unfortunately, since then. But because France is a Mediterranean republic, the tricolor and all that kind of thing. PSG are one of my favourite teams outside of Italy. They are up there with Celtic anyway. I support them about as much as Celtic, I guess, because I'd love for more French teams to do well as well as a Mediterranean nation. Again, as it's so far behind Italy, maybe Italy and France could work together and practice together, try and make Ligue 1, how do you pronounce it? Ligue 1, League One or whatever, the French league basically, more popular, and like French club team football along with Serie A maybe could work together on ideas. And I love for Italian soccer to learn from, or footy or whatever you've got to say, to learn from La Liga and the EPL, especially in terms of the EPL, like in terms of branding and marketing and that kind of thing. A lot of Italian teams have like American managers, which don't seem to be as good, whereas English teams and PSG are owned by like the sovereign wealth funds from Arab nations. But I prefer that to be Italy. But as long as they do it within the rules of the game, I was thinking like if people learn like to avoid the mistakes the City group who and Man City have made, I guess that's one thing PSG have got to be careful of as well. But yeah, if an Italian team doesn't win, I tend to want PSG to win it. One day I'd love to see Celtic winning those trophies. But yeah, sorry, back to the game. PSG missed, I'd say, at least 2 golden edge chances where play got through. I don't know if he panicked. There's one way it was a bad touch. He had good pace, but one of his touches took it away from goal. At times, PSG were really slow as well. I thought almost as if they had been paid to let Arsenal nil win. But they did come into the game, obviously, and they missed a couple of chances. This black or mixed race guy who plays for PSG, yeah, his name, but he missed 2 gilt-edged opportunities. Easier said than done when you watch it on TV. But then I thought they were going to blow it and they were going to with their chance. As this person who invited us to their house, their brother-in-law said they were a United fan, Man United fan, sport of United, of course. But they were all winding up the Arsenal nil fan, and bless her. But they said if PSG don't win, they can't say they didn't have chances. But I wonder why people say that, saying because if you create chances, surely you have more cause to complain and say, "Oh, we created those chances and we should have put them away." Whereas if you didn't create any chances, you could say, "Well, you didn't create chances." So I do wonder why people say like you can't complain that you didn't have the chance or it's your own fault because you missed those chances, which is kind of true. But if you didn't create chances, surely that would be your fault even more. I would think. That would make sense. As much as possible, at least some sense, hopefully. But I guess the last 3 Saturdays, Celtic winning the league, pretty much last kick of the game. Celtic winning a double and then PSG winning. Happy days, I guess. Although it started off really bad with Italy losing, so I've had a mixed bag. I guess if I had to choose, I'd rather Italy go to the World Cup and win, but you can't win them all. You win some, you lose some, and you can't win them all. But I feel on the balance of play, PSG deserve to win. My memory's eluding me a bit about what happened in the game. But to be fair, Arsenal did defend really well, and PSG that creativity to unlock them. I thought they kept Congrat, if that's how I pronounce the name, who used to play for Napoli. They kept him really quiet. I think Vitinho, if I got his name right, who I believe is Portuguese, was probably the best player. I think they say Saka made about 4 passes, and on the subject of Saka as well, people Also nil fan, also whole nil supporters. Sorry, my silly pattern. I'm thinking like supporter because it's Sunday, support Sunday. Are complaining about decisions, but there was one way his arms were up, and you could argue that his arms were up. That should have been a penalty, and maybe even a card. In which case he probably would have been sent off at one point. Even the penalty, I think, should have been a second yellow. I'm sure it would have been a red as well. So I think Arsenal nil actually got quite a few decisions in their favour, although I don't think the referee was particularly good. But I was thinking, actually, side note, if I was going to rate Italian football's season this year out of 100, it would probably be 0. So hopefully lots of changes would need to happen. Celtics, I'd probably rate about, in the end, probably about 90 out of 100, giving a rating out of 100. So yeah, Celtics season, I'd probably say it ended off being about 90%, I'd say, because it was a bad start, but in the end won a double. So I guess it's got to be at least 80 or even 90%. But I'd love to know what Celtic sports would give this season out of 100. Italian sports, yeah, was there as well. I'd love to know, or maybe not. But yeah, I'd give Italy's season about Italian football at club and country level about 0. So I hope a lot can be changed and improved, bringing in better coaches and managers, like people like Pep are available. Luis Enrique, but I suppose Italian soccer needs more money. I don't know how much like governments and politicians are allowed, councillors or whatever from a nation are allowed to help a nation's football development. I love for Italian politicians and the government, or at least Italian businesses, or preferably both, or all three of those things. Politicians, the government itself, councillors, and businesses and organisations and associations to give more money to Italian teams legally, as long as they do it legally, to help them to compete and win things like P.S.G. Be able to celebrate. But yeah, I always support Italian teams when they play non-Italian teams. So I know I'm bringing it back to Italy. But yeah, from an Italian supporters' point of view, I think a lot of Italian sports probably won't think how good that is for P.S.G. Although I guess it could show counter-attacking footy can still work, I guess, so there is. But I'd love for Italian footy to become more attacking. And maybe, like, I don't know why Italy can't copy Spain and like practicing, passing, moving, tiki-taka footy or whatever you want to call it, because Italy's a Mediterranean nation with a similar climate and a similar history and culture and all that kind of thing. So if they practice passing and moving and that kind of thing, hopefully they can play like the Spanish teams. Although it wasn't a very good year for Spanish club teams either. But yeah, my prayer worked for once, and the guys guided it. I was thinking, what if it got to penalties in it? And P.S.G 165. But I think we're going to wrap this up because I can't remember too much more about the game. But yeah, I think even if Arsenal nil supporters complained about referee decisions, which I think some of them were a bit harsh, even on Arsenal nil. But yeah, they could have had at least 1 or 2 players sent off themselves, and they could have given away at least one more penalty. And oh yeah, that was the other thing. The decision. That's something I'm trying to remember. The decision where Arsenal nil supporters felt they should have had a penalty. I felt when you look back at it, I'm sure the Arsenal nil player actually grabbed the arm of the elbow or whatever, the arm or whatever of the P.S.G player, P.S.G defender. So I felt that if anything, it probably should have been a free kick to the defender. But I'd have to look at it again, who made the first contact and where the first contact was made or whatever, because I think that's where the decision should be. Like if the contact started outside the box, I don't think it should be a penalty. But yeah, I'd have to look at that again. Maybe I'll say, I was a bit wrong about that. Also, no supports were right if you agree. But even before that, on the first half again, Saka handballed the ball in the box, so it could have, and that would have been probably a yellow quite early on, or at least on the first half, and it would have meant he would have been under pressure, and he already got a yellow, and he got a yellow later on, so he could have been sent off. Even the penalty, I think, could have been a second yellow. It was quite a reckless challenge. So yeah, I don't think Arsenal supporters could be aggrieved. I don't think there's much in that game which said they deserved to win it. They defended quite a lot. I know it's a bit rich of me, Italian supporters saying that, but I say I'd love to see Italy playing more attacking football and like producing players like Messi, Ronaldo, Zizou, Zidane, all that sort of thing. But yeah, I'd have to look at it again. I could be wrong about that. I'd love to know what other supporters think from different clubs. If you give an objective opinion, like basically a neutral opinion, that'd be interesting. Similar with like Celtic's season, like if people look back at, as I rather maturely call them, the hearts, and the Rankers, Rangers, and us, Celtic, like which, who, if anyone, do you think got favourable decisions? It probably levels itself out throughout the season. Like a lot of decisions can go either way. Like it can be in your favour, but then later on it levels itself out maybe. Like Hearts and Rangers supporters seem to conveniently forget when they had decisions in their favour, and I think it's similar with Arsenal supporters. Like many people say in the Premier League, they had many decisions in their favour. Anyway, there's probably lots more I could say, but I don't drink alcohol, I promise. Anyway, I'm out and peace out. I don't drink alcohol. I'm just very immature, I guess.